Here's Brody Brazil.
This is a video all about pro sports game times. And I'm not discussing the actual duration or the length of games. I'm more referring to the actual start of game times in the East and in the West of our country. And the question here is, can we do better than the way we currently have it right now? It's been unchanged for decades, but I'm not saying that things couldn't be improved. What specifically are we talking about here? Well, the main issue for me are West Coast night games as they relate to fans out East. Because you realize, hypothetically in hockey season or basketball season, if you're doing puck drop or tip-off at 7:30 p.m. in California, that means that fans out East, they're not even starting to watch the game until a little bit after 10:30 p.m. Now, 10:30 p.m. for me is when I'm getting ready to start wrapping up the day, usually, right? I'm starting to wind down. I'm starting to relax and maybe go to bed. But 10:30 is just the start of the game, let alone a post-game show. Hypothetically, if a game starts at 7:30 and conservatively ends by 10 p.m. Pacific, that means it's going to be 1 in the morning when this game is over, and that's not even including the post-game show or interviews that you might want to watch afterwards. So that is pretty late, and I'm saying this as a West Coast guy. I'm impressed by the dedication of East Coast fans to stay up this late and then still go to work the next morning on short hours of sleep just because they wanted to stay up to watch their team. Now, there's also the secondary issue here of East Coast night games for West Coast fans. And if you start at 7:30 out East, that translates to 4:30 out here on the West Coast. At 4:30 p.m., aren't most people still on the clock at their job? And hypothetically, if you're able to make it home by 5:30, then you've already missed an hour of the game. You may have missed half of the basketball game, a period plus of the hockey game, and the ending of the game is not a problem. If it ends at 10 Eastern, that's 7 Pacific, that's no big deal, but it's the start of the games that a lot of fans are missing, and that translates to lower TV ratings, and same thing with the opposite, right? We're trying to figure out how the most people possible, East and West Coast, can enjoy watching their team as many times as possible. So my proposal here is to find the best window that works. Can we start games out East and out West with a 3-hour time difference? Can we find a window that makes it beneficial for everybody to get the most eyeballs on every single game possible? And so here's how I would do it. On the West Coast, can we start games at 6 o'clock p.m., which is not terribly late out East? It's still 9 p.m. when the game starts, but 9 p.m. is going to translate to a lot earlier night than the way we do it right now. That would technically have a lot of games ending at approximately 8:30 p.m. That means if you're out East, it's 11:30, game's over. You still have time to watch all the post-game show and be in bed before midnight. I also want to add to this, selfishly, I'm saying this as a parent, and your child is not going to be able to hang with a 7:30 start time very often until they get older, until they can extend bedtime and not have the consequences of that. It's hard. It's hard to have young kids be able to appreciate or enjoy any type of weeknight game when they start, in later hours. So moving it up approximately an hour and a half, it would benefit younger West Coast fans. It would obviously also benefit fans out East. 6 o'clock, I also feel like, and I understand the sentiment of some who say, yeah, I work until 5. Okay. I would say, though, in most cases, in most places in the Bay Area, you could probably get from your work to the start of a game in about an hour or a lot less, depending on where you live. I'm thinking of a commute. I'm thinking of traffic. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes it's hard to make it home in that time, but I still think a lot of fans could swing it so that when they are going to games, they could still make it there by 6 o'clock out West. And then the other half of this is obviously the East Coast start times. Now, what if we actually push them back just a half hour? And I know I just made the case that earlier is better for young fans, but I'm trying to think about the West Coast here. If you could slide it just a half hour. Remember, we're eliminating all of your late nights for road games for East Coast teams. I'm talking about your home games here. If you start those just a little bit later, that's a 5 o'clock start for everybody out west. And that's still a 7:30 ending time for people out west. You end your game at approximately 10:30, so it's still not late out east. But this just seems a lot more workable and doable and something that would be more appreciated by West Coast sports fans. So again, that's my idea to find this window between pro sports, game times. Can we do better? That's the number one question here. I know we've been doing it this way forever, but can we do better in starting games at certain times, which would allow more people to enjoy all of their team's games?